I'm John Schrott, and this is On the Spot. Today we're going to be talking with one of our architects, Aaron Perelstein, about the issue of cloud computing and the benefits to an architectural practice. So maybe, Aaron, for people just new to that term, what is cloud computing?
Yeah, so we host our models in the cloud, and what that allows us to do is work with our consultants as if they're sitting right next to us in the same office. We like to pick consultants that are appropriate for the project, and so having that ability to work with them as if they're at the desk next door makes things go quicker. It streamlines the process in terms of schedule. It allows us to closer coordinate with them to see changes in real time versus an old method where we would share models maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks.
So what you're telling me is if I'm sitting at my computer drawing something and I have an engineer in across the country, that person is viewing what I'm doing in the drawing in real time.
Right. I can make a change and I can, call them, Teams them, chat them, however we communicate, and let them know, hey, we moved some ceiling grids. We need to change the lighting in this atrium space or this office or what have you. And they can look at their model and check for new changes and see those updates immediately.
So does it benefit or expedite the clash detection component of the practice to make sure everything above the ceiling is not conflicting with each other?
Absolutely. As a team, we can stay on top of changes because we all know, as you move through the stages of schematic design development, construction documents, sizes of beams may change on a new building, or, if you change a boom in an OR, that might change some of the supporting steel. And so the structural team, just like when we make a change, the structural team can notify everybody that, hey, this beam got 3 inches bigger. Can you check maybe your ductwork needs to slim out or maybe some piping needs to be rerouted? So those complicated rooms and spaces really allows us to see those changes quickly and adapt quickly, as well as during construction, right? We all know during construction, things aren't always built as they were intended to be built. We had a project where a form slipped and a concrete wall was slightly shifted. We were able to update the model, look at all those implications, shift a stair, make some tweaks like it never happened.
Do you ever get pushback from some engineers? Because this is really new for them to be involved earlier in the process.
I think it's interesting because we also get pushed by the engineers to use it because at the end of the day, it allows them to work quicker as well, right? They don't have to put in a system not knowing what the steel is or not knowing what a piece is, and then come back and change it maybe 4 and 5 times. It allows that to streamline that process where you're not anticipating what the other teams are doing in that 1 to 2 week cycle of exchanging models. Now that it's live, they're seeing that instantly and adapting instantly.
So where do you think this is all heading? What is the evolution of cloud-based computing?
I think where it's really heading and where a lot of these companies are pushing it is to streamline right now that there's still a transition between construction documents and construction, right? We don't always hand off models, right? Contractors don't always use models, but allowing that transition from a construction document with intent to fabrication to execution and having that be streamlined is really where this is going to head, and I would say in the next 5 to 10 years.
Interesting, because I know there's a few manufacturers that we can feed our model to that then goes right into shop drawings and fabrication. So you believe that's where things are going to move?
Definitely. We're already seeing that with the CM and design assist phases where, especially on the MEP systems, where we're trying to target value design a system where the engineer might design it a certain way, but having those partners get in the model and start looking and filling out the components and pieces and being able to do takeoffs on their fabrication models and seeing those back into our construction documents really is where it's going. We're seeing that here and there, especially with the savvy owners who push for those kind of design assist projects. But that's really where I think that those incremental steps will get to the point where that model continues through the life of the project.
It's really interesting because what you just voiced was collaboration between all the design disciplines, the construction disciplines, as well as the manufacturing disciplines. So it's interesting how everything would then gel into a single whole around one model. So
right.
Really cool.
It does, and it allows us to do things we haven't done before, right? The idea of that we can design something and have that turn into a fabrication with the actual design intent. There's not that interpretation fitting it back into a system. It's where the industry is headed.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we could talk a long time about this, Aaron, and I really appreciate you being on the spot this morning. So until next time.